Okay, so you want to start your own law firm, but you feel like maybe you don't have the experience to pull it off. You're not alone. And today I'm going to show you exactly how you can make that happen for yourself. We're going to do a quick rundown of what you need to do, and you're going to see that it's not as hard or as overwhelming as you may think that it is to open your own law firm, even with little experience as an attorney. So first, we got to start with your foundation. That's where we have to start before actually opening your law firm. So first, why do you want to open your law firm? Maybe it's for independence. Maybe it's for flexibility. Maybe you have certain financial goals. Maybe there's a certain impact that you want to make, right? And so you want to know, why do you want to open your law firm? That's number one. Also, you need to know, what kind of law are you going to practice? You're going to want to pick something that matches your skill set and your interests and also the market demand. Now, I recommend as a solo that you pick one main practice area that can withstand the market, that can, if the market is down, if the market is up, you're still going to be busy with work. Think of family law, think of estate planning, think of, immigration. I mean, that can have some flexibility also as far as the market, but there are some practice areas that are pretty strong regardless of what the market is actually doing, to where you won't have big dips in your practice in your law firm. And then maybe you're going to have one or two interest areas, passion areas, but don't try to do everything. Don't try to be a general practitioner. You want to have, I think, 2 or 3 practice areas as a solo is a strong start for a solo to get up off the ground and to start to get some clients in the door once you've gone solo. And along those same lines, you want to know, who are your clients? Who are your ideal clients? Who are you marketing towards? When people ask you what you do or who do you help, you want to be very clear on who that person is. I've seen this so many times, if you're doing bankruptcy, you don't want to have your ideal client just be anyone who wants to file bankruptcy. When I used to do a large amount of bankruptcy in my practice. And so in my firm, I did a lot of Chapter 13 bankruptcy work. So my ideal bankruptcy client was a homeowner who was facing foreclosure, an employed homeowner who was facing foreclosure, right? And that was who I was talking to in my marketing, talking about foreclosures and avoiding foreclosures and loan modifications and short sales and Chapter 13 bankruptcy and stopping the foreclosure auction. That's who I was talking to. Now, I inevitably would still attract people who didn't fit that box of facing foreclosure. I still would do other types of bankruptcies and help people who weren't homeowners or needed Chapter 7. That still happened. But when I was doing my marketing and who I was talking to, that is who I was talking to. Okay, let's get to the actual nuts and bolts of actually opening your business of your law firm. So you're going to want to you're going to want to choose a business structure for your corporation. So this could be like an LLC or a PLLC or sole prop. I don't really recommend, but professional corporations, each state can have different designations for different types of entities. If you're in Washington State like I am, I suggest the PLLC option. You're going to get that registered with the state. You're going to get your UBI number. You're going to get your EIN number from the IRS. Do not use your Social Security number for your business. There's going to be many instances where you have to give this number to other financial institutions, or you might have to do I don't know, what is it, W-9 or something like that for clients who are writing off the legal expenses for their businesses, right? You don't want to be out here giving your personal Social Security number to everybody. So get an EIN number for your business, for your law firm. You're going to want to get bank accounts set up, at least your operating account. And if you're going to be taking trust deposits, then your IOLTA account as well. You may want more than one business account, more than one operating account. And so you're going to at least need the one operating account and then your trust account or IOLTA account if you'll be using that for taking and holding client funds. Then also malpractice insurance. I think that should go without saying, but we're going to say it anyways, because what I want to add here is that yes, you need malpractice insurance, but if you are just going out on your own, especially if you don't have a big network, especially if you don't have a lot of experience as an attorney, You want to talk to your insurance carrier and see if they have a part-time policy. So some insurance carriers offer part-time policies if you're working 20 hours a week, 25 hours a week. You don't need a full 40-hour-a-week policy as a full-time attorney if you do not have full-time work, right? So you want to ask about a part-time policy if that might apply to you. Let's talk about your overhead. Overhead is such a big one to me because when I went out on my own, I was so frugal about how I spent every dime because I didn't have a large surplus of funds to be able to open my law firm. I used no debt. I didn't use a credit card. I didn't take out a loan. I didn't borrow at all. I didn't have a big savings account. And it was like do or die for me. Like if I didn't bring money in, I wasn't going to get paid. So let's keep overhead low when you go out on your own. This could be a virtual office. This could be a co-working space. This could be a home office. Right now, we're here at my home office. I do have a brick and mortar. It's actually the same brick and mortar that I opened when I went solo almost 10 years ago now. I still have that same space. I love having a brick and mortar, and I do see clients in person with my line of work, the type of work that I do in my law firm. So I still have that, and I'm just more productive when I'm actually at my brick and mortar office. When I'm here at my home office, there's always laundry to be done and dishes to be done, and my dog is here, and there's floors to vacuum, right? It just never ends. So I'm much more productive when I actually get out of my home office and go to my brick and mortar office. And again, I have a need for it with my practice, but if you are looking for an office, there are options to keep that overhead low, or maybe find another attorney who maybe can sublease some space to you out of their office, right? There's a lot of options for keeping your overhead low and having a lower rent payment when you're first going out on your own. Also, in my experience with software, so again, when I went out on my own, I did not have a lot of software, but when I do purchase software, I make sure that I purchase cloud-based software because I don't like the idea of every time I get a new laptop, which I've had to do a number of times in my almost 10 years of being a solo and hiring paralegals and assistants, right? So you don't want to have to be dealing with a server and just all the headaches that come along with having the systems and software on your actual computer or laptop. So go with cloud-based programs. It's going to be a lot easier for you as you, again, change computers, you change office locations. It's just as easier to adapt to wherever you are and for remote work if you're going to be doing remote work. So when it comes to billing and case management and document storage, try to go with cloud-based. I found that to work really well for me and my team. And again, if you're just going out on your own, you should not be buying a lot of software unless there's something that you actually need in your practice area. But aside from your basics, you don't need a lot of software, so you shouldn't be spending a lot of money there on software. When you go out on your own, when you first open your law firm, you will be doing everything. Okay, you're not hiring a paralegal or an assistant when you first open your law firm, especially if you have little experience as an attorney. Now, if you are coming from another firm and you're going out on your own and you've got a full book of clients coming with you and you know you're going to have that income coming in on day one, then maybe you're in a position where you're going to have help on day one. But that wasn't the case for me, and that isn't the case for most of my solos. They are doing all the things on their own. The one thing I say that you should not do unless you specialize in doing taxes is your own taxes. Don't be your own tax client is my advice. But if you are a tax attorney and you are very comfortable, you have some kind of CPA background, otherwise you should not be doing that work. It is only a couple of billable hours for you to pay someone to do your taxes. So you should be outsourcing that in year one, but otherwise you're doing all the things in your law firm. All right, let's talk about developing your marketing plan. We need to have a plan for you in your business, how you're going to grow your business, how you're going to bring clients in the door and bring revenue in the door. Again, this one should also go without saying that you need a website. It needs to clearly explain what you do, how you can help, how to contact you, how clients can work with you. But you don't need to spend a lot of money on a website. Please don't spend a lot of money on a website. I'm not tech savvy. I did my own website. This is 10 years ago now. The options to build your own website are so much better than what they were 10 years ago. So GoDaddy and Squarespace are two options I see a lot of my solo attorneys use for building their own website. If you have the funds to be able to pay someone to build a website for you, that's great. But again, I wasn't in that position when I went solo. And so if you're building it yourself, GoDaddy and Squarespace both have beautiful website options, pretty easy to use, kind of a drag and click situation for you to build a website. And then like if you use Canva, you can use AI to build out most of your website for you. And you're just going to go in and tweak and edit it as you need to, as you see fit. You don't have to do it all from scratch. So I promise you, it's a lot easier than you may think that it is to build your own website. But you do need to do that. Again, you should have that on day one when you open your law firm. Also, you are going to want to claim your Google My Business profile. You need that so you can be found locally, so you come up in maps organically, so clients can review you and help you build your online presence. It is free to claim that profile, so make sure you do that with Google when you open your law firm. Also, one that I can sometimes get pushback on from my law firm owners is creating content. A lot of them don't want to create content. And when I say create content, this could be by way of a blog on your website, being a guest, blogger on a different, blogging site, making YouTube content, social media content, whether it's Facebook or LinkedIn or Instagram, depending on where your clients are, right? But you need to be able to put out content in a way that works for you. It may feel a little uncomfortable. It might push you out of your comfort zone, but you're going out on your own. You're opening your own law firm. You're going to be uncomfortable in many a situation. This will not be the first time that you're going to be uncomfortable doing something new, figuring something out for the first time. Like that's going to happen as a business owner. So be prepared. And this is a good way to prepare yourself for that. Is that you need to find a way to get yourself in front of your client. Your clients are out there. Your clients need your help. Your clients are looking for you. They don't know where to find you. So where are your clients looking? Are they looking on YouTube? Are they looking on Facebook? Are they in Facebook groups? Are they on Instagram? Depending on your practice areas, it's going to kind of dictate for you where you should go and where you should be showing up and producing content. So wherever that is, you need to make sure that you are there providing education, providing help, providing value. So you are showing up as the authority so that when people have this issue, they already feel like they know and can trust that you can help them. So before you actually open the doors to your law firm, you should be spending some time creating that content. Again, whatever that is, the blogs, the articles, the videos, the social media posts. You need to be building up a catalog of that for you to post, because once you go out on your own and you're running the business, you're being a lawyer, sometimes creating the content can fall off your priority list. So if you've already created a library of content for you to pull from, it's already done for you. So make sure you have content that you're going to put out so people can find you, so they know where to go when they have a problem that you can help them with. Also, your network. I have spent many, many years building my network for a wide array of reasons, whether it's for mentors and just colleagues to have someone to pick up the phone and say, oh my God, I'm having the worst day ever. Or I've got this issue with my client that I need to fire. How do I deal with this? How do I navigate this? Like, there is no problem you're going to have as a law firm owner that somebody else hasn't already had. So you want to build your network of people that you can go to, that you trust, who will pick up the phone when you call and answer those questions for you. But then also, we want to build referral sources. We want clients coming to you and to your firm. And the best type of client is someone who was referred to you, right? Because there's already a vote of confidence from the person that referred you to them. Right? So if somebody calls their real estate agent and says, hey, I need help with this real estate issue, and the real estate agent refers them to me, there's already a vote of confidence there in me by that real estate agent, right? So that potential client is no longer a cold lead and looking online for an attorney to help them with their real estate issue. They're already coming to me as a hot lead who has an issue that I can help with. So you want to make sure you're building that network of referral sources. So whatever your practice area is, you need to figure out who are going to be good referral sources to you, and you have to get out there and start meeting them and building genuine relationships with them. Now, I will tell you, I'm an introvert myself. When I go into an event where I don't know anyone, the last thing I want to do is try to go up to people and make small talk and introduce myself. I feel like I suck at it. I'm not very good at it, but I've had to do it. Like, if I'm going to have a business and be a successful law firm owner, that's something that I have to do. I have to show up in that way. I have to do things that are uncomfortable. So you will also. And that might be one of those things that you have to do that's going to be uncomfortable. Get used to being uncomfortable. Welcome to owning a business and being a law firm owner. All right, let's focus on the client experience. What is it like when they reach out to your office and they want help? Make sure you're returning phone calls and emails quickly. I think within 24 hours, especially if you have the capacity to do so. The responsiveness is going to help you as opposed to other law firms who do not respond. Now, you may not be available for a consultation within 24 hours. You don't need to do that, but let's at least acknowledge the call and give a return phone call or a return email in that time frame. Do not live on your phone. Do not live on the email. Do not be chained to your desk and your laptop. You should not have your email open 24/7. I think there's times in the day you can have your email open to check it and respond accordingly, but you don't need to be tied to it all day long. Also, as you're getting started, you're going to want to build systems for your intake, for giving clients case updates, for doing client follow-ups, to have that communication with your clients so that they know what's going on with their case. They know that you haven't forgotten about them. How do you want that to happen? Whatever process you're building out for yourself, document that, so that when you do grow and expand and add to your team, you already have this database of how you do things, how these things should happen, how they should flow. That's already been created. Okay, we're hopping back in here because apparently my camera decided to die on me in the middle of recording the last one. So we're back here to wrap up talking about how to go solo with little or to no experience as an attorney. And the next topic we're going to get into is how to get that experience when you are a new solo, when you are new to being an attorney. We want to start by finding a mentor, right? A lot of bar associations at your state level or your county level will have mentors that you can reach out to and to establish a relationship with. This is going to benefit you for a few reasons. One, to have someone to go to when you have those questions that you may be embarrassed to ask, too shy to ask, from someone, again, who's been there, done that in your practice area. Again, there's no issue or question you're going to have that somebody else hasn't had before, right? But having a safe space to go and ask those questions of is really valuable when you're a new attorney and you just gone solo. Also, in addition to having that mentor to go to ask the questions of, who will share templates with you and kind of help guide you through some, clear areas that you have that you're working through. Also, being able to maybe do some shadowing. If they're in your practice area, maybe being able to go to court with them or sit on client meetings with them, or just kind of see how they do the actual lawyering work. Because you can do the CLEs and read the books and all the things, but until you actually do the work, you're not going to really get a good grasp on how the work is done. Also, as well, with your bar associations at the county level or at the state level, or there may be other groups that you've joined, make sure you join the listservs and the communities that they offer, right? I'm on a number of listservs, and they have been very valuable to both practice area specific questions or templates, things like that. Or also, I'm part of a few listservs for solo and small law firm owners, right? So we talk about like the business of running a law firm, and there's questions about that, like referrals for bookkeepers, or how do you deal with this? How do you deal with that? So it's been a great space to go to be able to ask those questions and get, help and input from other attorneys who do what you do and can kind of help guide you. So you're not having to reinvent the wheel for the first time every time you have an issue that's new to you. Also, a great way to get practical experience is to volunteer. So your local legal clinic is a great place to go because, again, the CLEs, the books, articles are only going to get you so far when it comes to lawyering. You need to actually deal with real world clients and their real world issues. So being able to volunteer, and there's usually always a need for volunteers. Again, county level, state level, a lot of times there will be practice area specific volunteer clinics that you can volunteer at to kind of help to give back to your community and to get more experience for yourself if you are newer to your practice area. Okay, so next we'll talk about planning for growth. If you're just getting ready to open your own law firm and you're new to being a solo, you might not be thinking about the long-term growth of your firm, but you should be, and you should be doing that now. So you want to develop some good habits for your law firm as a business owner. So like tracking your leads, knowing where your leads are coming from, how many consultations are you having, how many of those are converting to paid clients, what's your conversion rate on those consultations, how much revenue is coming in, how much does it cost you to run your business? I speak to a number of law firm owners who do not know what it costs them to run their law firm. You need to know what that number is. You don't want to just be flying by the seat of your pants when you're running a law firm. We need to go into law firm ownership with a strong foundation, knowing what it costs to run our business, knowing what revenues needs to come into the door to be able to cover all the expenses of running the law firm and making sure that you're paying yourself, knowing where your business is coming from, knowing what your conversion rate is. You need to know all these things to be an informed business owner. Now, once you start having some initial growth in your law firm, you might start thinking about, well, I need some help. Like, where am I going to get help from? How am I going to afford it? Now, your first hire in your law firm, aside from someone to do your taxes and doing your books, is probably going to be a virtual receptionist, someone to help manage the phones for you, because you cannot be disrupted by the phone all day long. There's too many interruptions for you. So you're probably looking at hiring a part-time receptionist. Again, remote virtual receptionist. You probably can get one for, I would say, $300 to $400 to handle your, call volume at this stage. Again, that's going to be like one billable hour for you, where you can take that 1 hour and pay that to someone to handle the phones for you for the whole month. And you will be able to 10x that time that you freed up by not being on the phone all day long answering phone calls. So a virtual receptionist is probably going to be one of your first hires in your firm. Then aside from that, you are going to get to a point where you're going to need some kind of part-time support in your firm. This is not going to be a full-time 40-hour-a-week employee. You're probably looking at someone 15 to 20 hours a week, somewhere in that range. I like to see revenue about $14,000-15,000 a month before my law firm owners start looking at hiring some part-time help, even if it's remote or in person. I want to see that. So we should be knocking on hitting about $200K a year before you are bringing on any kind of part-time help. And again, this is not a full-time employee. This is part-time support, 15-20 hours a week. As you start, and it is only you doing all the things in the law firm, make sure you document what you're doing and how you do them. That way, when you bring someone on, you already have this manual of how your law firm runs, okay? So how you answer the phone, how you scan files, like tasks that seem as small as that, if you document that now as you do it, when you bring someone on, you have these resources for them so they know how to do those things. They don't have to ask you and interrupt you in your day every time. It makes them more self-sufficient when you do bring someone on. If you need help with building out this foundation of your solo law firm, make sure you grab the free business plan that I have linked down below. There's no cost to it. It's free for you to get, to make sure that you are starting off law firm ownership on the right foot. Okay, so let's wrap this up. I guess out of everything we've covered today, as far as the nuts and bolts of how to open a law firm, I want the biggest takeaway for you to be, don't wait until you feel ready. And I said it in quotes because what that means for you or someone else is going to be different. But don't wait until you feel ready to open your law firm. You're going to learn by doing. It's never going to be the perfect time for you to open your law firm. You're going to get to a point where you're just ready to do it. For me, I was fed up with where I was working. I was really unhappy. I was really miserable at my old law firm, which is what kind of pushed me to go out on my own. So for you, maybe you can't find a job and you feel like you need to go solo. Maybe you are unhappy with your pay and you want to go solo because you know you can earn more for yourself on your own. Maybe you want more control over your time, more flexibility. Maybe you just want more freedom and you want to design a law firm that works for you. Now, your first year of going out on your own is probably going to feel a little uneasy because you are figuring things out. But when you have the systems, you have the mentorship, and you have the persistent, and you keep showing up, you can absolutely build a successful practice even as a newer attorney. And even though you're going solo, you don't have to do so alone. I offer an 8-week one-on-one training to help you get your law firm open. If that could be helpful to you, make sure you reach out. I'd be happy to see if we'd be a good fit to work together and to build a law firm that you've been waiting to have, the law firm of your dreams. All right, I'll see you in the next one.